We're here today at Jefferson Street Missionary Baptist Church, where Trustee Erica Gilmore has just made a presentation about taxes and maintaining one's property. Ms. Gilmore is doing a whale of a job, and we'd like to allow her a moment to give us an overview of what she is what she's attempting to do with this effort.
Yes. Hi, I'm Erica Gilmore. I'm the Metropolitan Trustee. The goal today was to inform and empower people about the importance of keeping up with their property taxes and the importance of owning land. And so that was the only goal, to understand your property taxes. Land builds wealth, and the more that people understand that and they hold on to their property because they choose to and not let it go because of property taxes. So if they choose to sell them, that's one thing, but we don't want people to lose their property just because they couldn't keep up with their taxes. So we wanted to make them aware of the resources available to them, and that's what the goal was today.
As you look at what you're trying to do, are you getting the reception that you hope that you would get?
Yes. People were very pleased, so I always ask people informally and formally through surveys, did you get the resources that you need? Did you feel it was a good use of time? And people felt both of those things.
As you move forward, the young man said you have 3 more opportunities to make this presentation. Where will they be, and do you have a schedule for those events?
Yeah, so no, we've done 3 and we'll continue to do more. So we base it on the community, and it's very deliberate. We assess the information of that community, and we want to make sure that the information we provide is catered toward that community as it relates to property taxes. So we will have more, but we're working on a date for the future ones at this time.
As you close out today, do you think that the value of what you presented was good for the audience? Because I think it was great. I think it was wonderful. There were things said today that I've never heard before. So the value to other property owners, landowners, citizens of Metro Nashville is immense. So how do we get that splashed all over and not just to small segments?
Well, see, we're doing our part. So we shared it. It's up to others to go and share. We know what our capacity is. So we've had meetings. We want others to take that information and share it, and it multiplies. That's how information is shared.
Thank you very much. We appreciate
Thank you, Coach Ed.
Appreciate you giving us this interview.
Please let us know. We'll be in the back, and we're glad to have each and every one of you here with us this morning.
Thank you, Pastor Marable, for letting us have this event at your church. We appreciate you allowing us to use this to educate the people. I wanted to ask our council member, our honorable council member, Brandon Taylor, to come forward and bring greetings from District 21. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Gilmore, thank you so much for the work that you're doing in Nashville. Mr. Brown, yourself as well, thank you for putting this on. Pastor Marble, I can't appreciate you enough for the work that you do here in the heart of North Nashville. Everyone, thank you so much. Welcome to Jefferson Street, District 21, North Nashville. We truly appreciate you being here today. I was thinking about it. I said, I was talking to the trustee. I said, it's 11:30, you think people will come? And y'all done pack this place out. So, so yes, give yourselves a hand. Indeed. So, this is important. Engagement is important. Getting people out is extremely important. And so what you're doing is what we need in this community. This is how we grow. This is how we sustain our communities for ourselves. And so the information that we will receive today and the conversation that we will have will be able to take this place to an extreme level of growth and progression here, right here in North Nashville. And so thank you all for coming out. And as we leave here today, remember to go out and continue the work that we do here today. It doesn't stop just in here tonight. It continues on. And as Pastor Marble mentioned, this will be something that we want everyone to know. So please share the information and please continue to do the great work. Again, thank you so much. You're welcome to North Nashville. And again, trustee, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's give our council member a hand. I know they're very busy. So I appreciate him showing up and showing up for the community. Next, we want to ask Mr. Brian Sexton to come forward from MDHA. He has been with us since the beginning. We've done 3 of these tax series. He has to leave today, but he's going to quickly share some information with you about MDHA and the resources they have. Then I will make my comments, and then we will roll into showing the documentary. Let's give a hand to Mr. Sexton.
Thank you, Trustee Gilmore, and Mr. Brown, Councilman Pastor. Thank you for having us. These conversations have been amazing. They're just getting bigger and bigger, so it's an honor to be here before you. My name is Brian Sexton. I work within MDHA's Community Development Program. And through our department, we have funds to help people repair their homes. Historically speaking, MDHA has really never committed itself to a level of outreach to make sure that folks are aware of these programs. And I have that task of doing that. So just grateful to be a part of these discussions. Every time I get to come before our community and share our home repair programs, I want to do that. Allegedly is going to have a very hard winter, and so I'm trying to get ahead of that and let you know that we do have funds to repair your home. If you have issues such as heating, accessibility, roof repairs, you name it, we have funds waiting for you that you can apply for to make those improvements ahead of whatever winter we may face this year. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. I left some information here on the front row, and please, if you call me, I'll make sure I'm available. I can navigate you through MDHA's application process. I will commit myself to that because we want to make sure every Nashvillian, whether you're a senior or whether you're young or whatever the case may be, that you are able to stay within the communities that you love and no one is facing displacement because of a repair. So thank you so much for your time.
Amen.
Brian, would you going to share with us your phone number?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. I'll give you my personal cell. That's how transparent
That's
I
what
am.
I want.
Absolutely. I'll give you my personal cell right now. It's 312 area code 720-3696. Yep. And please don't forget, we also have a front row full of everyone's information from the voices you will hear from today. If you come to the front row, it's right here for you to take and review.
Would you give that number again, please?
Number again, yep. Area code 312-720-3696.
And what's your name?
Brian Sexton.
3692.
3696.
96.
3696. Yep, have handouts as well.
Yes, and just so you know, we thank you, Mr. Sexton. We have handouts up here that we will pass out to each one. It's a resource sheet, just so you know. We want to make sure that you do take advantage of the sign-in sheet. That's how we keep you abreast of the things that's going on in the community. But we do have a list of resources. We want to make sure that you have everything you need. I think Ms. Hunter asked me earlier, she said, well, where's the information? I said, we got a resource sheet for you.
You pass it out now?
You want us to pass it out right now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so she is challenging me. What if we pass it out in maybe like 15 minutes once we get started? Because oh my gosh, Ms. Hunter, you're a tough bargain. So once again, my name is Erica Gilmore. I am a part of the Metropolitan Trustee's Office. We're responsible for the collection of the city's property taxes, which are real taxes, and we also do personalty taxes, which is business taxes. This is the third series we've done of this, and I realized I may need to clarify. Disrupt and Dismantle is the name of the documentary. We show this documentary because it is tied to the regentrification that Nashville has experienced. And we just want to empower the taxpayers, whoever they may be. We have several different programs that we do. We have some that deals with vets. We'll go out into the veterans community and make sure we target those groups. We also have things that deal with CPACER, which are commercial buildings, and you get tax abatements, will be in that community as well. So this is just one aspect of our office, but we just wanted to make sure that people understood the importance of property taxes, knowing the resources that you have available to you, because we don't want you to lose your house because you cannot pay your property taxes. So that we want you to know that there are programs available. So you'll hear from Ms. Haddock at the end, who is with the Housing Fund. She has programs through her nonprofit. We have programs through the city. Our monies come from the state and the city of Nashville. We do not set the guidelines for the income limits. I want to say that several times because the guidelines could be higher, but people come to us and they say, well, why is it $39,000? You know we can't survive off of that. We follow the guidelines that are set by the state. And so we also have Attorney Manson with us. He is a probate judge. A lot of people, once again, if they're not clear, he's a probate judge and attorney. If they're not clear about how their property works, they lose their property in probate court. And these are things that could be prevented. So we just came up with a list and of resources that we thought would be beneficial to you. We also have Dr. Leotha Williams, who sits on the Historical Commission. He can talk to you about how historical overlays work. And then we also have with us Ms., I have to look up the name, but she is doing a great work, and she's going to talk to you as well, Ms. Renata Madison. And she's with THDA, and they have programs as well. So it's not that we don't have the resources sometimes. We just want to make sure that we are connecting the people to the resources. So we ask that you do the sign-in sheet. We'll turn over the documentary. After the documentary, our panelists will give an overview of what they do, and then we're open for questions. We do have a hard stop. If we're not able to answer all of your questions, we encourage you to still ask those questions, and we'll send them out to you on the email. I just want you to know that. Are we okay with that? Yes. Okay, so we'll get started this time. I want to thank you once again for coming out, and then we'll hear quickly from Bobby Mbegne, who's with the participatory budget, and he's going to share some information. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with the documentary, which Soledad O'Brien did, called Disrupt and Dismantle. Thank you so much.
Structural racism is how we got here. How do we get out? I've spent decades looking into these issues. Today, not much has changed. So now, I'm going out to meet real people with real problems. In this episode, Black land loss.
Along the waterfront here, all this property used to be owned by black people.
We are the target for developers.
Do you feel like there's been efforts to basically steal the land?
I do. Are the Gullah people at risk of extinction?
I don't think we're at a point of no return, but we're right up against it.
The world needs to know what we're going through is to stay here. Our land. Enough is enough.
Standing by is no longer an option. If the system is broken, how do we fix the system?
Who's fighting back?
Attacking the easily and making money now? No. It's time for that. Disrupt and dismantle. I'm in Hilton Head, South Carolina. I'm here to meet the Allen family.
Would it help
They're
out?
having some serious problems with their land.
Okay.
It's been in their family for generations, but they risk losing everything. Take the next left onto that road, then on to your destination on the left. This is our road, which really is what takes us to Old family. I've reached your destination. This is the Allens' property. They could lose all of this any day because of an obscure legal loophole that's plagued black landowners since the 1800s. Queen Mary and other family members inherited this land from Dennis Allen, who purchased it just one generation out of slavery.
What exactly is Dennis to you?
Dennis is my great-grandfather.
And Dennis bought this land.
Yes, January 14, 1919. This is the
In your family for 100 years. acres. The purchase was 2 separate parcels for $195 and $180, totaling 38¼ acres. Queen Mary gave me a tour of the land.
It was really peaceful.
Oh, it's very peaceful.
How's the fishing here?
Great. I would come with my mother every day. Oh my gosh, she used to cook over there. We live on the ocean.
11 acres are like this, prime waterfront.
It's so beautiful down here. I see why everybody loves it.
Yeah, it's been very good for the people that live here.
What was it like here when you were a kid growing up?
I was born and raised here on Hilton Head Island. It is on this soil. And when I was a little girl, this area was all Gullah people.
The Allens are Gullah, descendants of West Africans brought to the Sea Islands of the Carolinas and Georgia during the slave trade. For Gullah people, land is not just property, it's part of their cultural identity.
Everybody was your family on the road. The people lived off the land, doing the fishing and hunting.
Living here, you have family, you have unity. You know, we all pull together. This is part of us, our heritage. We shouldn't let anyone take it from us.
The Allens' land is under constant threat because they have a type of ownership known as heirs property.
Heirs property is land that has been passed down without a will. Therefore, the loved ones of the deceased individual own it communally.
And it's perfectly legal.
Heirs property ownership enables any one of the common owners to walk into a local state court and file a legal action, which is essentially a court-ordered forced sale of the property that will typically happen at an auction. And if you're talking property that has passed down over the course of multiple generations, you're dealing with hundreds of heirs property owners who each have a fractional interest. And as the numbers increase mathematically, the property becomes more and more unstable because you have one millionth interest, but technically that makes you part of the group.
The Allens say that's exactly what happened to them in 2009.
A family member that no one had ever heard of put a for sale sign on the property and nobody could stop it. I said, this is ridiculous. How could this happen?
And he could do that as a family member?
Yes.
Because it was heirs property.
That was my understanding, yes.
The Allens own the largest piece of heirs property on Hilton Head Island. That, and its proximity to the water, make it attractive to outside interests.
You have these speculators and developers, their ticket to acquiring that property, and all they have to do is buy out one of the family members.
And once that developer acquires that share, they become the newest member of the family. So how much heirs property is there? There are at least 108,000 acres in our 15-county service area. I have that documented on a map. We don't show those maps publicly because literally it could make our landowners even more vulnerable.
Indigo Run, a near 1,800-acre gated community, has been the Allens' neighbor since the mid-'80s. After the for sale signs went up in 2009, the developers offered the family $4.5 million.
We appreciate the development, but don't take all the land. We want to be able to walk on it with no gates. This property, there's no price on it. We just want to live on it. There's no price.
The relative who put the property on the market died, which halted the attempted sale. But the prospect of millions bitterly divided the family, especially the heirs who had no connection to the land.
All of a sudden, you have family members who want everybody off of the land so that they can have money in their pocket.
But
In 2021, the land is valued at more than $22 million, and there are more than 75 heirs. So the Allens living on the land find themselves in an impossible position. Accept a lowball offer or risk coming away with far less at auction if another relative forces a sale.
My family have worked their bones off down here to keep this property. So yeah, we have equity here. We are important Gullah people.
These trailers and this land is all many of the Allens have. If a sale goes through, more than 20 family members stand to lose the only home they've ever known. Many of them are elderly and in poor health, like Shirley Allen, who is the eldest living heir on the property.
Your mom has lived on this property her whole life?
Yes. She's 76. She's had an aneurysm, a total hip replacement. She's had one of her feet amputated.
What would happen to your mom if the land is sold and you're kicked off the property?
I just wouldn't know what to do with her.
1, 2, 3. I wouldn't want to see my sister removed from this land. I think that'll kill my sister. I really do. All these older people stressed out about this land. Where would these poor people go? People need a place to live.
The Allens say Indigo Run, built on 3 acres the family believes was theirs.
Whose land is the cemetery on?
When I was a child, I was told the cemetery was part of the Allen property.
The family says 7 generations of Allens, including slaves who worked these lands, are buried there.
So when you want to go to the family burial ground, how do you go? How do you get there?
We have to call to get access to go through the gate.
So to get to your own family plot, you have to call the gate to let you in?
Yes. Yes.
Every time?
Every time.
My mother, my sister, oh God, so many people. And we have to ring that bell to go see the people.
Do you feel like there's been this intentional efforts to undermine and basically steal the land?
I do.
Your family?
I do.
Is it to just remove people, black people, Gullah people, out of property that's very valuable?
Yeah, I think that's the goal. To move black people off of Hilton Head as if we never exist.
This is a massive problem, and the town of Hilton Head knows it. I need to figure out what role the town plays in all of this.
Basically, they were telling us, vacating the property, you have to go.
On the north side of Hilton Head Island, just as you cross the bridge, there's a neighborhood called Stony. It's one of the largest remaining enclaves of black natives. We headed there to meet Shawnee Green. Her family has battled the town over their heirs' property.
Hilton Head Island isn't but so big. There isn't much land left. Sometimes I do think that we are the target. Local communities are the target for developers.
This beautiful land, with the highway running through it, used to belong to Shawnee and her relatives.
We, at one point, owned one of the largest tracts left, about 22 acres. It was acquired by my great-great-grandmother, Tina Jones.
Tina purchased the land for $250 in 1898, but left no will, so the land became heirs' property. The Jones descendants worked these lands for generations as commercial fishermen. But that all changed in 2006, when one of the more than 180 heirs, who happened to be a realtor, started sniffing around the property.
Adolph Brown. We never met him, but he was a distant cousin. He came, met with the family, and we were going to try to work together to develop the property.
They organized the property into 3 plots based on value. A for the 4 waterfront acres, B for the 5-acre middle section, and C for the remaining 13 acres.
Later down the road, we found out Mr. Brown was negotiating a deal with the town of Hilton Head to purchase the property. The whole family now is like, what is going on? We went to court and said, this is not what we wanted. You don't have, the rights to do this. But that sale ultimately pushed through. The town of Hilton Head purchased A and B. Combined, they paid $5 million. A alone was worth more than $5 million. I had some family members stopping by the house telling me, we about to get $5 million. Who? Hello, it's 180 plus heirs. You're not going to get $5 million alone. A lot of them got close to nothing, hundreds.
These cutouts in the sidewalk are the only evidence left of where the family's homes used to be. The sale forced them to relocate to the remaining 13 acres of Tract C.
But then 3 years passed. It's the end of 2011. I myself get a text from Adolph Brown. Hi, cuz, this is AD. I'm here to tell you, get ready to move.
Adolph Brown sold his family's land again, this time to a developer who's turning it into a 48-unit gated community. Shawnee's family would have been completely displaced except for a direct appeal to the new property owner.
He actually listened and redid his plans so that we would fit to stay where we were. The agreement we came to. It ended up being 2 acres.
From 22 acres down to just 2.
This whole case makes me feel hurt. The town of Hilton Head really disrupted my family, our heritage. For what? It will never mean to them what it means to us.
I decided to go further into the Gullah corridor to get a deeper understanding of the systemic ways Black natives are losing land.
Here we are. It's gorgeous, but because of the overdevelopment, the taxes have gone up.
Yeah, people just waiting for us to say, if that property ends up in the hands of persons who are not appreciative of this culture, it'll just fade.
What do you think is lost if Gullah people disappear?
My history gets lost. We're trying to hold on to our land, our wealth. What America should do is come clean. Understand why Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of white Americans. It's a history of systemic racism that never allowed African Americans to fully participate in the society.
In terms of the land African Americans have lost in the South over the course of the last 100 years, our conservative estimate, just the value of the land lost itself is $350 billion.
So how did we get here?
Anywhere from 25 to 40% of all African Americans can trace their lineage back to South Carolina. So when you think about the land drain that's happening, I don't think we're at a point of no return, but we're butting right up against it.
This is Mitchellville, where the legacy of Gullah land ownership begins.
We are sitting on the grounds of the first self-governing town of formerly enslaved people in the United States. Established in 1862, and it comes about because the Civil War, 30,000 to 40,000 Union troops come to Hilton Head Island, the Battle of Port Royal. All of the Confederate folks leave, and the slaveholders had schools, they had stores. Each family had a quarter-acre lot. You gotta understand, these people went from being property to owning property, which is a sea change we can't even think of.
Black landowners here enjoyed autonomy for nearly 100 years, but they passed down the land outside of the court system, resulting in thousands of acres of heirs' property.
Even if they may have known to record the deed or to draft the will, there is the discrimination, the lack of access to the legal system, and there's also the lack of trust that helped perpetuate the creation of heirs' property.
In the 1950s, a bridge connected the mainland to Hilton Head for the first time. Developers soon followed and frequently targeted heirs' property. Then, the town incorporated in 1983, which many black natives say accelerated land loss in their communities. The island used to be more than 50% black. Now it's more than 80% white.
In the mid-20th century, Gullah on Hilton Head probably owned about 3,500 acres of property. Now it's less than 800.
I've seen the devastation firsthand, and it continues to happen under the town of Hilton Head's watch. It's time to get some answers from the town manager.
Yes.
Not only are the Gullah battling heirs' property and tax issues, they're also dealing with restrictions on the use of their lands. On Marshland Road, about 2 miles from the Allens, Ty Scott runs this market on his 3/4 of an acre property. The town revoked his business license. A court order allows him to operate while litigation is pending.
We have been in a 5-year legal battle to open the first commercial retail establishment where a Gullah native owns the land, newly erected buildings, and the business. The representative from the town has told me that what I'm doing is not the highest and best use of my property. The town owns the lot 2 doors down, and 3 doors down are high-end $450,000, $500,000 homes. That, in my opinion, is what they want to see here. Through ordinances, zoning, we are being systematically pushed off of Hilton Head Island. The demise of our presence here, it has to be sustained.
This land, its rawness, its authenticity, it's being whitewashed. And unfortunately, for us to inhabit this property, we have to fit that design.
David Brown is a local realtor with deep Gullah roots.
My great-great-great-grandmother, her name is Amelia White, she purchased a little under 100 acres of land in 1892.
David's family has 20 acres left, that's heirs' property. But these 1.37 acres are owned outright by his grandmother, Joanne Green, for now.
My grandmother's health is challenged. Her last wish is to deed the property to her children before she leaves this world. We want to subdivide this property equal to the amount of children that she has. 5 different lots. If we cannot do that, when she passes away, it will go into heirs' property.
David says the town won't allow the subdivision unless the family adds a road, a fire hydrant, landscaping, and other upgrades.
A lot of the requirements are to the standard of one of these private gated communities, like Hilton Head Plantation or Indigo Run. We cannot afford to match that requirement.
It makes you wonder, does the town of Hilton Head even want them here? I decided to find out. We reached out to Steve Riley, who was town manager for more than 25 years. His office declined our interview request, citing illness and impending retirement. But interim town manager Josh Gruber agreed to sit down with me. A potential COVID-19 exposure pushed our meeting online. As you come in to be the town manager, what will you say to the Gullah people? They're frustrated and they feel like they've been let down.
My door is open to working with you. The problem comes into the limitations on how some of that support can come about. But I'm always open to creating solutions to deal with this issue because we acknowledge it's an issue.
And so at some point you start thinking, maybe this is intentional, right? That a good way to get rid of people out of a community, especially poor people, especially when you have rich people who'd like to move in, is to make the poor people, the black people, feel unwelcome. Historically, that has been the story of lots of America. Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, I mean, there are certainly documented cases where that has been the case. I don't know that Hilton Head is one of those.
So is the heirs property issue a county issue, a state issue, or a local issue?
It is a state issue.
So it sounds like you're telling me our hands are tied.
To some extent, there are certain things that we can do to kind of chip away at the edges. The biggest thing that we found as a local government is to try and keep our taxes down.
But the taxes have gone. Most of the Gullah people I've spoken to, their taxes have risen a lot.
As I said, there's other government entities that want to tax bill as well, so I can't speak for any of them. But the town of Hilton Head actually has one of the lowest rates in the entire state, and part of that reason is because of the impact that it has on the environment.
Do you think the Gullah people are at risk of extinction? Whew, that's a long pause we got there.
Certainly there are things that are being lost. There's no question that they're losing land, they're losing culture, and that's the struggle. And that's why in working with the Gullah Geechee Task Force, you're trying to find these ways where you can kind of chip away at this issue, which just doesn't really have an easy answer.
So what exactly can the Gullah Geechee Task Force do?
We're trying to change the culture of where we do business here in Hilton Head to identify issues that are affecting taxes, land use, and sustainability. It's very interesting because while we are under the mandate of the town, we're looking at issues that maybe they have created.
The task force issued more than 30 recommendations in April 2019. The most important, they say, is what's called a historic overlay district. Basically, special zoning applied to Gullah neighborhoods that would relax restrictions on their lands.
Gullah people want to be able to use their property, subdivide it, pass it on to their families. If the overlay district is adopted, folks will have the freedom to do that.
The overlay district remains under review.
These issues continue to be kicked down the road. Significant decisions have been made, perhaps behind closed doors. This is what creates the mistrust between our community and town hall. Word of mouth is nothing. We want action.
Is action really possible? To get a straight answer, I met with the lone Gullah representative on the town council, Alex Brown. What do you think is really at work here? Is there an intentional strategy of moving black people off their land?
There's a definite conflict between this vision of Hilton Head being this great resort and a Gullah person wants to just live on their property, right? So, yes, to answer your question, sure.
Do you think the Gullah people have been neglected by Hilton Head?
Oh, absolutely. They've been neglected for a while.
The Gullah Geechee Task Force came up with a long list. How many of those have been put into place?
None at the moment.
0 out of 30 something.
Right.
So was it genuinely done with intention, or was it just, we all know no one's going to do anything with this anyway, so it sort of doesn't matter?
It's not moving fast enough for me. I'll just say that out loud, right? We have to take advantage of the change of tides. Folks that don't look like me are standing up saying, this is all right.
How likely do you think it is that, in fact, you will get the overlay district?
Well, now that I'm sitting on council,
You're one of 7, so realistically.
we're going to get it done. We'll get it done.
But just when it looks like help could be on the way with the overlay district, there's a new threat. US 278.
Yes.
What is that project? Describe it for me.
Painful. This could be very devastating if it goes through.
The town of Hilton Head has been conducting studies on bridge repairs and expanding US 278 from 4 to 6 lanes. The state-funded project could send the highway right through one of the oldest and largest Gullah neighborhoods on the island, Stony and Shawnee Green's remaining 2 acres.
The expansion of 278, some of the plans that they've laid out, my family's property, along with others, it'll run right through it. We'll be forced to relocate again. It always seems like if it's not one thing, it's another. It'll get to a point where we've lost all of the property, and there's no turning back then.
The elders have seen this before in the Sea Islands. They're worried, but they're also pushing to keep the culture alive. At this roadside market, John Frazier carries on the Gullah tradition of living off the land.
Never had a job except on my father's farm and this farm that I started. Everything here I built myself.
It seems to me that the Gullah people are disappearing off the land.
Black folks are disappearing off the land all over.
Right.
And once it get out of black hands, it's all fenced off and you can't even walk across it.
Well, so what does it matter if you lose the Gullah culture from here?
That's a way of life folks need for identity. Most of the people throughout South Carolina come from the Gullah culture. You have to have an identity to feel like you belong to something and you're not just out there floating around.
You know, developers would come by here and say, look at this. I could see a hotel right here. And you obviously look at it and see other values. What do you see in it?
I see it as a farm. But it's easy to just take $400,000 or $500,000 for the property and be done with it.
Does it not matter if this is a hotel or a series of condos with a gate at the front?
Some people see it as development.
How do you look at it?
As a loss. See, I'm 71 years old, so I hope to stay like this until I quit.
What remedies do Gullah families have to combat the losses? The Center for Heirs Property Preservation in Charleston, South Carolina, has solutions.
You can't resolve title to heirs property. The substantial part lies with the family, but it does require a lawyer. We provide the direct legal services, educational seminars. We help clear title to the property and then promote the sustainable use of the land.
Professor Thomas Mitchell's Uniform Partition of Heirs Property Act also provides some protections.
First, it enables anybody who's part of the common ownership group the unilateral right to buy out the fractional interest of anyone seeking the forced sale. Second, courts have to take into account family heritage, culture, history in deciding whether to order sale. And third is what we call an open market sales process, as opposed to auction sales that sell the property for a fraction of its value.
South Carolina adopted the law in 2016, but it's not retroactive, so it can't help Shawnee Green or the Allens. And yet, they're still determined to fight for their land.
We do not want any backlash or anybody getting pissed off because we're talking about we want to live here. This is our home. We are important to the fabric of Hilton Head Island.
10 years from now, I plan to be right where I am. We accept what has happened, but this is a new Hilton Head. We realize what we are losing, and we can't afford to lose anymore.
The town has tried their best to blind the public to where the Gullahs are. The world needs to know what's happening to the Gullahs, how long we've been here, and why we're still going through all the issues that we are, just to stay on our land. It's time for a change. Enough is enough.
The story of Gullah land loss is only a small piece of the Black land loss crisis in America. But the outcome is not inevitable. The key to preventing systemic land loss is to prevent the mechanisms that trigger it. If you don't have a will, make one immediately. Know your family tree and educate yourself about the land laws and property rights that govern your community. In America, land yields wealth and power. We need to preserve as much of it as we can.
Yes, sir.
Or the Hadley Library, or you can just mail it. There is an address here that you can use. So thank you, trustee, for inviting me to share this information with you all. I will be leaving these ballots here. If any of you wants to vote online, you can do it as well. You can go to db.nashville.gov and find a link to go vote online. I highly recommend you vote online. It's easier. You just go online. It takes you 5 minutes. And please vote. Help us know what you want to see built with those $2 million. Thank you very much. Thank you, trustee.
Yeah, I was asking you were out of what, battery?
No, memory card. I emptied stuff off this thing. I thought I emptied off while I left.
We'll interview Erica after this is over.
Okay.
Okay, we're about to have our panel discussion. What we're going to do is we have a few questions that we already had prearranged that we're going to ask. Right after that happens, we're going to have one of our own from our staff, Mrs. Rose, come up to talk about our tax freeze and our tax relief programs. And then we're going to open it up to you all to ask questions based on the rest of the time that we have. Once that we have our audience questions, we're going to do it a little different. We have two of our staff members, Reggie and Tevin, in the back. They will have microphones. If you have a question, you just raise your hand. What we're going to do is give you 1 minute to ask your question. They will be holding the mics, so don't worry about holding the mic. They will hold it for you. And then the panelists themselves will be able to answer those questions. From there, we'll go ahead and get started. So what I would like to do is just to have each and every one of our panelists just to say your name, get where you're from, and just talk about your profession and what you do. We'll start with you, Ms. Masson.
My name is Rebecca Madison. Can't hear. Can you hear me now?
Our sound man's getting us in the back. Just be patient with us, please.
Can you hear me now? Awesome. My name is Renata Madison. I work with THDA, the Tennessee Housing Department Authority. I'm the liaison for 42 counties of Middle Tennessee. There's 3 people in the state that do exactly what I do, but I do it for Middle Tennessee, 42 counties. So Davidson County is one of the counties that I work with. I work with to get this information out to the constituents of Tennessee. It's important to me that you guys know what is going on. I'm everywhere all the time, and I've never been here, so I'm glad to be here today. Can we get your number as well?
So what we'll do is we'll make sure that we have all the contact information right once we get done with our question and answer period, please.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. LaRofa Williams Jr. I'm a professor of history at Tennessee State University. I'm also coordinator of the North Nashville Heritage Project. For the purpose of this meeting, I am here representing the Metro Historic Zoning Commission.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is John Manson. I'm an attorney here in town. I do probate, criminal, and a little bit of family law. I recently ran for probate judge here in this last election. I'm here to explain the importance of getting that estate plan and talk through the primary problem in that video and how to avoid that heirs property issue and what we can do about it.
Good afternoon. I am Alicia Haddock, Senior Vice President of the Community Economic Development at the Housing Fund. I manage the Housing Resiliency Fund. It is a property tax relief program. It has been in existence for a little over a year now. It was initiated by a grant from Amazon, and we are excited to come and talk about the property tax relief grant because it has also been extended to landlord property tax relief. So we are looking forward to a robust conversation about the preservation of affordable housing in our community.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrea Barber, and I work in the Metro Planning Department. So if you all have any questions about planning and zoning, I'm happy to answer them, but I'm also a North Nashville resident. Hello, I'm Erica Gilmore. I'm the Metropolitan Trustee, and as I shared earlier, we're responsible with collecting property taxes and personal taxes. So that's real estate taxes, and personal taxes is business taxes. And we thought it was important to have this series and show that documentary is because once your property is not paid for in terms of your taxes, they stay in our office about 2 years and then they're turned over to the clerk and master. And once they're turned over to the clerk and master, we don't have any control for that, but as they showed in the film, they go up for a sale. And it goes to whoever the highest bidder is. And your property can be worth more or it can be worth less, but it's offered up as a tax sale. And so we really just want to encourage everyone to pay their property taxes. And if you're not able to, we want to connect you with some of the resources that are available to you. I do want to plug that tax bills have now gone out. And it's important that you pay your taxes. That's why we're sharing this now. You have until February the 28th, because after February the 28th, it gains interest. It's 1.5 interest for each month. And then someone said, well, can't you waive that interest? By law, I cannot waive interest on property taxes. So this is our effort to do outreach on the front end to educate and empower you about property taxes, land, and ownership. So, thank you.
Thank you. Right now, we will have a few people that's giving out some of the information that we have, so we'll be spreading that to both sides so you will see that. I know we have some information right here from THDA that we'll make sure gets out to everybody as well. Dr. Williams, if you wouldn't mind, could you give us just maybe a small historical analysis in Nashville when we talk about thinking about property owning or owning property here, specifically in North Nashville as well?
And I tell my students this all the time at TSU, that nobody is in North Nashville by accident. From the moment Black folks were freed in the city, they were directed to this space. The evidence is very clear. The institutions that were created here in 1912 were used to entice Black people to come here. And I'm speaking in terms of Hadley Park and Tennessee State University. As Jim Crow matures in this city, people are directed here, so much so that by the time the civil rights movement occurs in the city, about 90% of all of the folks in North Nashville were African American. We oftentimes focus just on Jefferson Street, which is cool because we need to know that story. But I remember one of my students asking me, well, Dr. Williams, what about those folks that lived on Jackson Street or Hyman Street or Scoville Street? Don't they have a story to say? If you take anything away from my commentary today, understand this, that this area that we call North Nashville is one of the most historic places in this city. Understand that one of the greatest dramas in American history played out in North Nashville. It's in North Nashville where students got together and residents got together and said, okay, we're going to make sure that America redefines what it means by democracy. So if you own property in this city, in this area, in North Nashville, I humbly submit to you that is by definition historic.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Reverend Hackett, we'll start with you first on this question, and then we're going to go around to anybody. From your professional perspective, what stood out to you as far as this documentary that we watched?
I think what stood out the most about the documentary is that the value the residents placed on their property, right? It wasn't defined by the local government. It wasn't defined by what people told you it was worth. They said that it was priceless, right? They couldn't put a value on those specific properties. And that means something, right? That means that you have the power to place the value of your own value on what's yours, right? And so instead of somebody coming into our community, somebody coming into our neighborhood and telling us what it's worth versus us telling them what it's worth to us, right? And it has everything to do with culture and cultural identity. And they didn't just say that this was a piece of land, you know, that my grandmother bought in 1890. This was a part of who their identity, their culture, what made them. And so I think we sometimes overlook that, right? And we go straight to a dollar sign, or we value someone else's opinion about something that's ours or something that's near and dear to our heart. But I think what Disrupt and Dismantle, part of that is that you get to place the value, you get to have a say in how much your community means to you.
And I want to add to that this idea of estate planning. So nobody wants to talk about what happens when you are no longer here. It's not a pleasant conversation. Nobody wants to call the attorney and set it up. They don't want to talk to their family about it. You're going to live forever, right? You're going to live forever. And unfortunately, it is not true. The problem with that is multi-level. If you aren't having a conversation, then nobody understands the value of the property, because you aren't telling your children and your grandchildren how important it is. So when the developers come and say, I give you money for it, they have no concept of why they should even keep it. They haven't had, because you didn't have a conversation. You come to me, you go to a probate attorney, an estate planning attorney, and starts the conversation. We can write down what you want, that's the legal part. We'll make sure that that's taken care of. But it will force you to talk to your family about it. It will force you to say, I want you to have this when I'm gone. I want you to take care of this. This is why this is important to me. And if you aren't having those conversations, one, you aren't being real to yourself about what's going to happen. And two, you aren't respecting the historical value, quite frankly, of what you have. Lots of people come, I just live on this little property. It's not worth very much money. That's all you're thinking about. It's not worth very much money. Well, maybe not today. It's not worth very much money. But 15 years from now, when they want to put a hotel on it, or they want to put now it's worth a whole lot of money. See what I'm saying? And maybe it's priceless. Because maybe that home 100 years from now is the home of the next president of the United States, and it gets in the historical register. You don't know, right? You don't know. But what you do know is this is a thing that you have, and that you should protect that thing. It does require you to come and use some of the things that the government does for you. And that's why we're up here to explain to you what those resources are. It does require you to have a will. As much as I don't mind the internet wills and the handwritten wills, please hire an attorney. It doesn't have to be me, but there are things that attorneys know how to do so that it survives the court system. Okay, you're all right, I want so-and-so to have this, and they'll be nice to each other, and y'all will share that. No, they won't. They won't, right? Your children love each other now, but when you're gone, they're going to fight over every cent, okay? And I hate to say that, but just be real about it, okay? You know, we all have that one relative that isn't no good, and isn't going to take care of it right, and isn't going to do right. Don't leave them anything. Write it down. Don't just assume that we know. We don't know, and you're not here to tell us. So hire an attorney, write your documents out, get the plan in place, and then have that conversation with your family so that they know. Mom and Daddy said, you can't have nothing. Mom and Daddy said, I get this and you get that. This is important and we need to keep it because of this. This is, our great-grandmother grew up here. Whatever it is, you got to have that conversation so that when they come to court, they understand what they're fighting for. When somebody comes to buy it, they say, absolutely not, I'm not selling this. Or give me $5 million and we can maybe talk about it. See what I mean? You gotta understand. So that's why this is important, and that's what the most important thing about that video is. You got these people with 192 heirs, and the one that's never been there lives in California selling the property because nobody explained to him, right? And 50 years ago, nobody wrote down who gets what, so we wouldn't have that situation. So I have plenty I can say, but I'll stop there.
What I would say about it from a planning perspective is, there's no more land being made. So to be aware of what you have, what you can do with it, what you can't do with it, the regulatory piece of it, I really encourage you all to reach out to the planning department, have those questions.
Okay, as the trustee's office, we want to make sure that you pay your property taxes. And I say this over and over, you say, why did she say that? Because there are a lot of times that family members that come into our office and their properties are worth $300,000, $400,000, and they just let them go into default with $1,000 worth of taxes. We should be able to scrape that together because if you can maintain your land, it's a building of wealth. It's a passing on from generation to generation. So that's why we really want to encourage you to pay your property taxes and to figure out different ways, because that is one of the best ways to build wealth. And not only that, we're not creating any more land. So once you have that, that's an asset for you to have. And so I do encourage you to take advantage of the housing fund. Once again, we have the tax relief and we have the tax freeze program. So the tax freeze program actually freezes your taxes on the year that you apply for them if you qualify. So if your taxes are $1,000 this year, you apply for the program, they go up to $2,000 because of the tax rate, or it could go up because of the assessment, which is two different things. But if they go up to $2,000, you're still paying $1,000 each year, even though it's 5 years into the future from when you apply. The tax relief is actual physical dollars that goes back to you. Now, the people who come into my office, they say, I don't want to accept any money from the government. I don't believe it's my money. But every time you pay a tax in Nashville on anything, you've already paid into that. The tax relief money comes from the state, and it also comes from the city council. So every time you buy something in the city, whether it's a grocery, it's a car, it's a piece of clothing, you've already paid into that. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of it because it's already your money. You have to be 65 years of age, and there are different criteria for each one. You can be disabled, you can be a veteran, and if you're a veteran, then you're 100% disabled, and we believe in veterans giving of their service. You don't even have to show there's no proof of income required, and we just pay your property taxes. So we really want to encourage people to take advantage of those programs, because once again, it builds wealth. If you can keep your house and stay in your house, and it's already paid for, and you have someone to assist you with your property taxes, that's half the value. You can use that money towards food, you can use it towards medicine, you can use it towards other things. So those are the things we really just want to encourage you to do, to take advantage of the programs that we have.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm
88. Thank you.
So one second,
Just one second.
We're
going to do answer period in one moment. We'll make sure that we have a microphone out there so people can hear your question. We'll go ahead and go to our next question, which is Hilton Head, South Carolina, is a very memorable story that I'm sure that a lot of people here related to or really had a lot of questions and thoughts about. Is there any stories like that you all may recall here in Nashville that we might can think about here? Maybe some things that were not done that could have been done that could have really helped out those families when it came to their land and their property.
So I would like to say there are a couple. A lot of people come to our office, once again, they want to qualify for tax relief or tax freeze, and there's several siblings on the deed. So how you qualify for tax relief or tax freeze is tied to the deed. It's not tied to the members in the house. So we add up how many people are on the deed, we take that income, right? And sometimes siblings have passed away and their names are still on the deed. So you have to get those type of things cleared up. It is very important. And sometimes there are siblings that don't live in the house, but they don't want to sign it over to the person that lives in the house that has been maintaining it. So what Attorney Anderson is talking about is very important in terms of clearing up the deed, clearing up all those titles so that those persons can qualify. And so if those sisters and brothers don't want to sign off on it, you have one person maintaining the property that cannot benefit from it. So it happens quite a bit. And then there was a conservatorship that happened some years ago in Edgehill, and there was a lady, her house was like, I don't know, it was like $300,000 or $400,000. She was a senior citizen, and the conservator took over it and then just auctioned the house off for a little bit of nothing. Once again, because there were no bills or anything in place. So we really want people to know that it's important to have your affairs in order.
I'm in court. I've got to be in court at 1:30 on the case. It's every time. You would think that this doesn't happen a lot. Every time I'm in court, somebody's in there, something went wrong, the will wasn't done or it wasn't right, they've got a third party that has to come in and take care of it. They don't understand family at all, but all they know is their job is to make sure this person gets taken care of. And the only asset they have is a house, well, we gotta sell the house. No plan, no plans in place. Nobody's ready for the things that you're not ready for. You could walk out the street and get hit by a car tomorrow and be incapacitated, and you don't have a plan, but you still got to eat, go to the hospital and get all your stuff. I'm gonna sell your house because I don't have a choice. Because you can't work, you don't have any money, you're not ready. No one is ever ready for the eventual things that may happen. Okay, that's why you plan. That's why you have estate plans. That's why you have conversations with people. That's why you get stuff together so that you don't end up with a conservator that's not a family member, or that's not somebody that knows you, that knows what's going on and can take care of you and maintain your assets. That's why you don't want to be in court arguing about a property that maybe your parent decided you should have, but everybody didn't agree about that, and she didn't maybe do the will as good as she could have, or she crossed with a sibling that wants to fight about it. And y'all spent 3 years, and imagine your house is worth $500,000. You fight in court for 3 years, who gets that money? I'm gonna get $250 of it off the top. Right? Because I had to go to court over and over and over again and file motions and argue with your siblings about the principle of it. And the court's I'm going to file my motion for fees, and the court's going to say, okay. And the money goes from the sale to the court to me. And then whatever's left over, y'all can, good luck. We've got $500,000 house. There's 2 attorneys now. So he's going to get $200, I'm going to get $200. That's $100, and y'all, 5 of y'all split it. That's $20,000. See what I mean? So be clear. When y'all have these disagreements and these disputes, this is why usually y'all that own it now have these conversations. Y'all don't fight. I'm leaving this to so-and-so. I'm doing this. This is what's going to happen. Make it clear and concise so that they don't have to come to court and fight. They can be mad all they want at you. You're not going to be here anymore. So too bad to them. They can live the rest of their lives mad, but you're going to get what you wanted done to them.
Amen. I definitely agree to keep your affairs in order, making sure that you know exactly what's on the deed, what's on the title, knowing these things. But then that comes also from knowing the resources that are out there, right? Trustee Gilmore talked about, where this relief money is coming from. We're paying into these things. We create programs to keep people in their homes, and so why wouldn't we want to take advantage of them? And we are very proud people, and I understand that. So we're not walking around with our hands out. We don't want to ask anybody for anything, but with programs that are available, you could be using that money to go towards clearing up the title, making sure that the deed says, hiring an attorney, making sure that all of your affairs are in order. So if you think about it like that, it's not about a handout. It is applying for things that were created for you, to create a preservation strategy to make sure that you're able to stay in your home, but if you're not taking advantage of it, somebody else will, right? And then you could be using that money to put into your home in different ways. So if that is, investing back into your residence, and that's money that you didn't have to pay towards your property taxes, that's a smart move. Right, and so reallocating those resources that you're receiving, there is no shame in applying for programs and grants that were created for you. Right, so if it's created for you, why not take advantage of it?
So I just want to add So if you have questions about how to find your tax info, how to deed info, I really encourage you all to look at maps.nashville.gov. If you don't know the address, if you don't know the parcel, if you don't know who owns the property, especially if someone has passed away, you can find all that information at that website. And then it is linked to the trustee's office for tax history. You can go back and look and see how, when the taxes were paid and who paid them or what's owed. So starting there and having that foundation of knowing what you have and where to find it is key. And I think a lot of stuff just doesn't get shared. People don't know, but a lot of this stuff is at your fingertips. You can look this up on your phone. So it's maps.nashville.gov. You can find out all kinds of information, from tax information, deed information, your land use, your zoning, who your district member is, who your school council representative is. All that information is right there on the website.
And if you go to your packet, that information that you just spoke of is in that packet as well. We're going to go to our last question before we get ready to prepare for our question period for our audience. And that question is this. I know that the trustee's office is doing a really good job with the tax relief and tax freeze program that I think we've improved up to about 6,000 households are being part of these programs. However, we also know that we have about at least 11,000 more households that are not a part of these programs that should be a part of these programs. So with that, we also know that there are other programs up here that they are speaking about. So I would love to hear, and we'll start with Mrs. Madison, about what are ways that we can make sure to help people to protect their properties.
Okay, so how many of you guys have heard of the Housing Assistance Fund? The Housing Assistance Fund was $1 billion. It came into the state of Tennessee. It's to help people with renters and homeowners. A lot of this information didn't get out to our population of people, and I'm surprised to just hear this. This program dropped January the 16th. Here we are in October, when we have a few hands. This program is not, it's income-based. You can make up to $120,000 in your household to be able to take advantage of these programs. This program allows you $40,000. Let me say that again. $40,000 grant, no payback, no nothing. This information just came through the Biden administration. This is that was supposed to come down, that has come down. And in Davidson County, let me just back up just a few minutes if you guys don't mind. THDA is a organization, an agency that was started by the General Assembly. Most people think we own property, that we have units somewhere. We don't own any units. We don't own any property. What we do is we get money from the federal government and we put it to affordable housing in the state of Tennessee. The entire state is how this money is funneled through. Any money that comes from the federal government to the state of Tennessee is funneled for housing. Affordable housing is funneled through THDA. Now, we give other agencies monies to do some of these programs that you guys are hearing about. But a lot of this money, $1 billion came down, and we gave some money back. Because people don't know. People don't know what's going on. So I'm here to tell you, everybody should receive some information from THDA, but if you do not, write this down, thdA.org. We'll say that one more time, thdA.org. The only, in my opinion, this is my opinion, the only downfall of these programs is they have to be accessed digitally. So you have to have access to a computer. You have to. We don't have brick and mortar buildings out anymore like we used to. So there's nowhere you can go to say, hey, I need help with this. You have to have a computer. We have people who can help walk you through it, but you must have some type of computer system. It can be done on your phone. You can go to the library. You can go to a lot of places, and I know you guys have young grandchildren and our neighborhood, somebody in the neighborhood that can assist, church family members that can assist with this program. That's the only downfall. Some of our seniors don't have access to computers. They don't know how to manipulate this system, so they don't get a chance to take advantage of this. This is not just for seniors. It's for any household that has a maximum income no more than $120,000. And it covers your taxes. That means it pays your taxes. It pays your mortgage. It pays for your utilities. This is very important. Again, THDA.org. The money is still available. When it's going to be gone, when the program's going to end, at this point, it's to the end of the year. We don't know about it after that. Again, we don't make the rules. These rules come down from the federal government on how they're supposed to be. And so I bid you, please, I don't care who you are in this room, sign up for it. If you make less household total income than $120,000, go on the THDA website, look up the Housing Assistance Fund, and apply. There is no harm in applying. There's no harm. The only thing that's going to come out of this is, yes, we're going to give you this much, or yes, you're going to get this much. Any amount is better than what you had before you started. So again, utility, taxes, and mortgage payments. That's it. And it's not age. It doesn't matter how many people you have in the house. It matters the income. It was an income-based program.
What about down payment assistance for the new?
So what we're going to do real quick is this. If you would, go a little deeper into just what are some of the requirements for this program so that people have this information as well.
The requirements is you have to make less than $120,000. You have to be owners of the property. You have to be owners. A lot of people live in what we're talking about. We live in our grandmother's house that we can't prove that we're the owners. The money that we're going to get that is issued out goes straight to the trustee's office. And it can't go in your name, Brenda, and your name under the deed, and you can't access it. So what they're talking about is important. You can't even access these free funds because the house, the deed must be in your name. That is very important. We get our grandparents, and they give us this property, and we don't do what we're supposed to do with it. We don't get our names on it. We don't do exactly what a lot of these individuals are talking about, and we lose out. It's very important for your property to be real. If you don't do it to the next generation, that's what they're going to face. The exact same thing you guys are facing. So clear up those deeds, and the money doesn't go to you. The money will go straight to your mortgage company. It will go straight to the trustee's office. It will go straight to your utilities. And you don't even have to worry about it. It goes right to the people that it's supposed to pay.
Mrs. Manson, I heard that you said you have their name on their deed. Is there identification? Is there other paperwork that you might want to make sure they have as well for this program?
There is a lot of documentation that's needed, but it's already readily available. It's nothing that you have to go seek unless you don't have the deed. It's just pure. I mean, it's real. It's not a hard process. In fact, we have revamped this process several times because when we first got the money, it was just too narrow. People couldn't come up with the documentation. People couldn't come up with a lot of the stuff. But now, again, it came out in January. Now it's a little bit more broader. And the information that we require you to get is accessible. It's nothing difficult. You don't have to do hard work. You just need to go access these documents, load them into the system. You can take a picture of it, send it right up to the system, and be eligible to receive some funds. Up to $40,000. How much depends on, again, how much the income of your house is. And this is going back for 3 years. 3 years. You go 19, 20, and 21, well, 2021 and 22. You get any of those years that you have paid issues with your taxes, please log on to THDA.org. Now, many of you guys may have known we gave money to MDHA to handle Davidson County. Of all the counties in Tennessee, 4 counties wanted to do their own work. They didn't want THDA to handle it. They wanted to do their own. We gave the money to MDHA. MDHA administered the program to Davidson County. So I couldn't do that much outreach here because it was somewhere else. Well, now, THDA is back. We're doing every county now. All the counties. So you come right to us. We'll go get it done. We'll do what we need to do. Access the money before it's gone. We don't want to send no more money back. I don't want us to send no more money back. If you guys need it, we need to get it out. What's your name?
Thank you. So what we're going to do is we'll come right back to her for our question and answer period. We want to make sure that we get everybody for this one, and then we'll come right back. So we'll make sure to have everybody's information and any personal information that you might need from that.
What's your name? It's on the documents, guys.
No, it's not on there.
We have to stay, we're going to come back to it, I promise you all. We just have to stay on target because we want to respect everybody's time. We'll be right back.
Okay, all right. I'll keep my comments brief because I don't have any money for y'all, right? But I need you to maybe radically rethink what you feel about historical overlays. Don't look at them as being something that's prohibitive, but look at it as something that you can use as a tool to protect your house and your communities. I've only been on the zoning commission for like 2 years now and some change, and a lot of folks come through there, but I have yet to see anybody from North Nashville. The very places where the tall and skinnies are going up, we are absent. We do see a whole lot of people from East Nashville and some other places. And there's a reason for that because there's a reason for that because there's protection there. If you need some assistance in creating a historic overlay, the zoning commission will help you put that together. And then when it comes time for you to protect the property, let's say a developer wants to come in and put something up there that is not consistent with the history of that space or something, you know, sometimes folks will come in and just put up a raggedy building and think it looks nice, right? The zoning commission can protect you from that. Some nice people on the committee, but having said that, they are very, very strong preservationists. They don't let any and everything come through. So with that, I would encourage you to reach out to them. If you think your neighborhood is historic, reach out to them. If you're not really sure, reach out to me, and I probably can help you make a pretty composed statement why your place is important.
My job, obviously you have to pay me, but I'm here to try and protect everything down the road. So you have to think of my fees as an investment. You want to hire that attorney, again, it doesn't have to be me, but you want to hire that attorney to make sure that you don't end up like they are in Hilton Head, to make sure that you don't end up having to have that fight later. So if it costs you a little bit of money up front, that's tenfold back to you when the property values increase, when your things are taken care of, when your family isn't fighting over everything later and doesn't have to pay the attorney's fees later, you pay them up front. So it's definitely an investment for you to get an attorney, you can make these plans and start these conversations. I try to treat my clients a little bit more like the counselor that people say attorneys are. So, you know, attorneys are always just about getting money and working the case. But you've got to counsel a little bit. I have to walk you through the things. I have to make sure you understand why it's important. I have to sometimes talk to the families and say, this is why this is important, this is the decisions that he or she is making, and this is why it's important that you know what they are. All of that becomes so important, but you've got to do it. You've got to do it. And unfortunately, I don't think any of these programs are going to pay my fee, but they will keep the house secure, and then you come to me, and I will make it more secure.
Sounds good to me. At the Housing Fund, we have the property tax grant, and the name is the Housing Resiliency Fund. It started in December 2020, and it is still going on right now. We work closely with the trustee's office to ensure that people who want to stay in their homes have that opportunity to do so, and property taxes will not be the reason why they leave. You know, the grant was first given to us, that it was a donation that was given by Amazon because they were coming to town and they wanted to make an impact on the Davidson County residents and people who already lived here, right? Existing residents. Because we have a lot of conversation about, new people coming to town, but what about people who have already been here, right? And so it was designed to be a preservation strategy, y'all, to make sure that that property taxes wouldn't be your burden. And so we have a grant that is not age restricted. It does have income guidelines. We go by HUD guidelines to determine what that income should be. I will tell you that so many people have utilized this grant. It is coming to an end because we have taken that $2 million and committed a lot of it because people around that 80% area median income, meaning if you have 4 people in your household and you make less than $67,000, then you would get 5 years of grant assistance. So that's what we've been doing. And so now, so many people have utilized it that it is on a first come, first served basis, right? So if you have not applied for it, or if a situation of yours have changed, because some people may have been behind on their mortgage, right? And so you had to have been current on your mortgage. And if that has been cleared up, you can come back to the housing fund and reapply for that grant. But at this moment, it is first come, first served. And so we want to make sure that every dime that we receive is going towards preservation of Davidson County residents. And do you know, out of all the data that we collected, North Nashville has been the most recipients who have utilized this grant, and that means something. That we're not just sitting around talking about preservation and keeping our homes, that we have people out here who are doing something about it, who are being active participants in keeping and making sure that their land is kept within their family and their homes are preserved. And so what I want to encourage you all to do, even if property tax is not your issue, maybe you're thinking about building some additional affordable housing on your land because you have multiple parcels. You have some land that you want to develop. You can come to the housing fund as well. We are at thehousingfund.org and take a look at our website. All of our grants that we have. We also have participated in a home assistance fund, homeowners assistance fund, where we have grant dollars to help with mortgage and rent relief. That includes your utilities, and you can get up to $40,000. And so I can attest that that is true. And so making sure that all of these resources that are at your disposal, that you're utilizing them, because if you don't, the money is going to either sit there or be reallocated to something or somebody else. And so go to our website, look at that application, because not only did we keep it just for homeowners, it's now been extended for landlord property tax relief. And so a lot of us own property and we are renting that property at an affordable rate. So if we're doing that, we have property tax relief for you all to make sure that you're able to keep these affordable housing units at an affordable rate. And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep you in place and also keep people who you're renting to in place, because we understand that people are being displaced, being pushed out, and we want to make sure that our loved ones have access to a community that we know and we love. So any information, I have my cards that you all, any more questions that you all have, we can answer at the appropriate time. But just remember that people are out here working on your behalf, and you can be active participants in whatever you think your future should be.
Amen.
We don't have many funds towards planning, but what I will say is what triggered a lot of what happened in Hilton Head was development, right? And so if any of you drive down your street, you see a red and white sign, that's rezoning. But if you just have questions about what's happening, if in the maps.nashville.gov, go to your development tracker, and that will tell you exactly what is happening, who is doing it, what's going to be built there, the time frame of where they are in the rezoning process. So you don't have to drive down the street and wonder what's going in on that corner or what's going in on that lot. What I will say is the things that don't pop up in development tracker are the things that people are doing within their rights. So if it's by right, if they're building a Tom Skinny by right, that is not going to show up on the development tracker. But if it's a major development, commercial, residential, whatever, and it has to go through the rezoning process, the land use policy process, it is going to show up on development tracker with information of who's leading the effort, who's applicant, who's the owner, what they plan on doing, and what the changes will be. So you don't have to be in the dark about what is happening in your neighborhood. You can access that literally at your fingertips.
Sounds good. I'm going to ask Ms. Shockley to come over, who is the tax relief specialist, and give you more details from the Metropolitan Trustee's office.
Thank you, everybody. We are in the tax relief and tax freeze program in our office. Those are amazing programs that are always available for you. Madam Castillo already explained that there are some requirements, some documents that we need to provide. You have to be 65 years old, you have to own your property, you have to live on your property. So these programs are for residential properties. So there is an income required. For the tax relief program, the combined income is for the applicant, the spouse, and all of the owners or co-owners of the property has to be below $31,600. This amount is set by the state of Tennessee. So we need proof of your income from 2021. Like if you file income taxes, we will need copy of the income taxes. If you receive Social Security benefits, we will need that. The property tax relief program is going to assist you to pay a portion of your property taxes. So it's for elderly, disabled, qualified disabled veterans, and the spouse, the surviving spouse of the disabled veteran. If your income was more than $31,600, but it was below $45,090, and if you are a senior citizen who lives in your property, you can freeze the amount of your taxes. This is a program that is also going to save you a lot of money because the amount that you pay the year you apply is going to keep the same for as long as you are in the program. We are already taking your applications. The program will end in April the 5th. Please remember that your taxes have to be paid in full by February 28th. So if your taxes have been paid and you apply for the program after February 28th and the state of Tennessee approves you, you are going to receive a refund in the amount of the tax relief program. We have some information. We brought the documents that you need to provide, and also we can tell you how you can set an appointment to apply in our office. So go ahead, if you think that you meet all of the criteria, if you know somebody who can do it, go ahead and do it. If you go to our office, we are going to spend more than 20 minutes. We will make all of the copies, everything that we need, and we are going to leave with a happy face. Because you're already saving a lot of money. But thank you so much.
Thank you. So we're about to get ready to go to our question and answer period. Before that, we know that Mr. Manson's going to have to leave for his case, so we just want to let him have his last word, and then we'll get ready to give the instruction for the Q&A.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Eric. And I'm going to leave some cards up here, just somewhere, probably with Trustee Gilmore. Oh, Ms. Beach will take it. So get a card if you want. Please call me, make an appointment. Call this number, ask for my assistant. She'll put you on my calendar. It's that simple. We can have a conversation. We can talk about what you need and whether you need it and how much it might cost, and we'll work on it. We'll get it where it works. Let's try to get this done. Again, my name is John Manson. That's M-A-N-S-O-N. Yes, like Charles. I don't know if we're related or not, but I'm black, so it's possible. So give me a call. Let me know what you need. If you don't want to use me, I accept that. Call another attorney. Let's get this done. It's so important that we have these conversations, especially in our community, and we make sure that we protect our assets and that we protect our family. Because at the end of the day, probate court will destroy a family. Going to probate court and having a fight is not good. You do not want it. You do not want to go in there. Some of you I know are already having those fights, and you probably know. You get in there, you argue, and you argue, and you argue, and years go by and nothing gets done. And it doesn't have to be that way. We can make a plan, we can write it down, we can clear it up, and we can prevent a lot of family drama and also protect your stuff. So please give me a call if you need me. All right, I'm going to leave those with you. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Manson. I'll give a round of applause for you. So we're about to go into our Q&A session. We have about 10 minutes for this session. Just to give a few instructions, we have either Tevin or Reggie will have a microphone in the back. If I need to, yes, and then they'll grab somebody once I point to them so that they'll use the microphone. They will be holding the microphone for this period. Just to keep this in mind, please, we want to make sure that we get as many questions in as possible. So please make them clarifying questions. Some of the questions that you might ask are in your packet. If you're looking for websites, please go ahead and look into that packet for that. Also, some of the questions just may not be able to answer because they are longer questions that probably need to be talked to on an individual basis. And we'll make sure after this is over that you're able to talk to them. So we're going ahead and get started right here. I see this.
I just want to make a comment on one of the questions. First thing, I want to thank Erica Gilmore, the new trustee. I worked in the trustee's office for 37 and a half years and retired 14 years ago. And I know about all the programs from tax relief, tax freeze. I like to compliment Ms. Hatter for the housing fund. Those people who don't know, call and use it. I'm saddened that the hands that went up, that no more people here at this meeting have not heard about all of these programs. I want to tell Erica, as a young woman, a young black woman, because I worked through 3 administrations, and she is doing for the trustee's office what should have been done a long time ago. It doesn't make any difference how much money we buy. It doesn't make any sense how much money that Amazon sends. If you don't know anything about it, it is void. And these people in North Nashville here that they use the housing fund, I live in East Nashville. I've been working, like I said, I worked in the trustee's office for 37 and a half years. I only found out about the housing fund through someone that worked in the trustee's office. I mean, they are the best kept secrets in Nashville about all this money and all these things that we can receive, and nobody's letting us know anything about it. But I want to tell Erica, keep up the good work, Erica. The innovative, a young woman and the technology is going to go a long way, because back then, my 37 and a half years, we didn't go out to the public. We didn't have these kind of meetings. And the only way you're going to know about it is to spread the word and to call in and to do this. And I just want to compliment you for what you're doing in your first year.
We're going to start this question first. Tevin, start this side as far as the microphone. Reggie will take this side of the question on that side.
Yeah, I just want to say someone up here said that North Nashville is a historic area, and I was just wondering, does that include the Bartle area also as historic?
I would say yes, and the reason being is because once the interstate came through, a lot of our people moved to Bordeaux. So you can't separate those stories. It's one and the same story.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then I also want to say I'm a disabled veteran, and I'm on dialysis 3 days a week, but I'm only considered 60% disabled. So I'm asking, does that qualify me as total disabled?
Yes, it is 100%.
Because my house, I'm talking about my house, tax freeze, yes or no?
So for the disabled, you have to be 100%. And so if you don't qualify for disabled, a disabled veteran for 100%, we could look at it for a person that's 65 years or older as a senior. So we can look at it from that way. And I have Ms. Shockley come over there right now to work with you and ask you some questions. Thank you.
Okay, I see the one in the back.
This is for Eric, I believe. You were talking about taxes. My taxes last year went from $1,700 to $2,300. I was under the impression that we wasn't gonna have a huge tax increase this time. Do you have any idea of possibly what the taxes would be percentage-wise this time?
Yes, ma'am. You can go online and we have a calculator. And so I can show you how to use that tool and I can take you straight to it. Now, I do want to clarify, I collect the taxes and the assessor assesses them and the council creates the rate. So, but we have a tool that we do use. So from that, the assessment, they create what should go on there, we create the bill and send it out. But I do have that for you, and I can also send you to the website, which is national.gov/trustee. The bills are available now, so you can just go in there and type in your address, and I can meet with you right after this, if you like. And I can show you all those different tools we have available.
Yes, thank you.
This question is from Ms. Alicia. How did you get the application for that housing fund, and where is your?
The taxes, but you will not be able to reap the benefit of the tax freeze program.
Okay.
Because the program is tied to the person and the property.
So will I will be responsible for the taxes she didn't pay, or just her current?
No, just going forward. Because she was a beneficiary of that, and it's from year to year. So moving forward, the freeze would fall off, so it would come up to whatever the regular rate is, but you will be responsible for those taxes.
Okay, look, as long as I don't have to pay back what?
No. It never goes back, yes.
Thank you.
All right, then, thank you. You do not have to pay it back. All right, thank you.
Okay, question for the THDA person. If you are, say your name is on the deed, but you also have it as a life estate for your children, are you qualified in the program?
As long as your name is on the deeds and you're responsible for the taxes now, yes.
So your area would also have to pay for the taxes, not if you don't qualify for Ms. Gilmore's area.
She has, I believe she was speaking on the phone, that's 65 and over.
Well, I'm 67.
But the life estate, that's the piece she's concerned about, the life estate.
Oh, no, yeah. What I would suggest that you do is go to thda.org and go into that program. There are specific things that I don't have that information due because what I do is make sure you got to get to the right place. So they would have that information. I don't want to answer that question and not be correct.
Okay, so but the financial income is higher than Ms. Gilmore, and you can still possibly qualify if you meet those.
Yes,
other
under
things.
$120,000 a year.
And it
Total
goes
household
towards
income.
property taxes.
Yes, and
Okay.
mortgage and utilities.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We have time for 2 more questions. Oh, I'm sorry.
Renata Madison.
Renata Madison.
I'm gonna move to the mic.
Go ahead.
Yes, on behalf of everyone here, we appreciate this meeting, informing us how that, the word says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. And this is very important information for us to internalize, so we can keep our community, keep our homes and our families intact. And also too, the series Disrupt and Dismantle, the documentaries, we watch a lot of those at home, and it really specialized information on how we as African Americans, how we got here and what we need to do to sustain ourselves. And one other comment, I see Mr. Manson has left, but the will is very important as a family, but what is most important, and everybody here should hear this, because that in probate court, that will not stay up, the lawyers and all the fees will eat up, whatever profits are in that home. You must have a living trust. You must have a living trust. I cannot emphasize that enough. And it has to be specialized, all of the children, all of the children and, no cousins and things like that, because that will hold up everything. So if you have a will, get a living trust. That's what's gonna hold up.
Thank you. Pastor Mitchell will be our last question. If you have any questions, you can come up to us after this is over, and we'll make sure to answer that. Go ahead, Pastor Mitchell.
Thank you. Okay, there you go. First of all, thank all of you for coming to do this. And Erica, that fro looks great on you, I tell you. Man, Eric and Erica, can this program be done in the evening hours? I'm retired now, but if I was still working, I couldn't make this. This is valuable information. And I'm just afraid that many of the people that need to hear this and see this presentation are not here. And so could you consider Eric doing this maybe in the evening time for the people that are not here due to work and our school? That's my first question.
So Pastor, I'll answer that one first. This is not our last session that we're doing. We are doing way more sessions than this.
Okay, great. And then to the lady from MDHA, in my packet, all it has is Tennessee Housing Development Agency, but there's no contact information on it. Go to THDA.org. And my question is there any record of what MDHA did with the first round of money that you all gave to them?
Yes.
Can we get that information?
Well, yes, you can go on to MDHA's website, will have the money that they did, that they used for that program. They'll have that written down as public knowledge.
I want to do that with you. Okay.
So I'm THDA.
I know that.
MDHA. So, but if you got money from them before, it's the same program, so you can't.
No. I didn't get any money. I'm just saying for the money that came down from THDA to MDHA, what happened with that money? Who got any of it is what I want to know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
have that information.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to give the last word to Mrs. Trustee Gilmore. And then we will be out of here again. We thank you for coming to this. If you have any questions for our veterans, they're right here. Otherwise, we thank you for your time. Last word to Trustee Gilmore.
Thank you, Eric, as our outreach director. We really appreciate you, and we appreciate each one of you. We want to give a thank you to Pastor Marable for letting us use his facility. We appreciate that. We want to give an appreciation to each one of our panelists. Let's thank them so much. And please know that our office will be of assistance to you. You can reach us at 615-862-6330. And as shared, we're going out to all of the communities. So no community will be left out. This is just one of many. We've done 3 already, and Eric goes to all the council members' meetings that they do. So we want as many people to know. It's no secret with us. So if you have any suggestions, we're open to them. But this concludes our meeting. We're supposed to stop at 1:30. We thank you so much, and we appreciate each of you taking time out of your schedule. God bless you and keep you. Thank you so much.